Here's a fact. A fairly large percentage of Americans do not take important medications as prescribed due to issues with high cost and or low supply. How did we get here? What can we do about it? In 2024, approximately 21% of Americans reported having not filled prescriptions because the costs were just simply too high. And around 10% reported reducing or skipping dosage of their prescription medications due to affordability issues. Results from a 2023 poll suggested that nearly 30% of Americans feel it is either somewhat or extremely difficult to afford their prescription drugs. This appeared to be consistent across all age brackets and with significant disparities across racial and income categories. For example, Black and Hispanic adults reported more difficulty than white adults, and adults making under $40,000 per year reported the most difficulty. However, this gets even worse when we find in the report that 11% of individuals making over $90,000 per year also reported struggling to afford their medications. And a major contributor to that, at least in the United States, insurance. According to that 2023 poll, at least 30% of respondents rated their insurance as fair or poor when it came to their out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions. And how do respondents feel about the pharmaceutical companies' pricing of their drugs? Not great. In a poll from the Kaiser Foundation, only 22% of respondents trusted their drug companies either a lot or somewhat to fairly price their products, with over 80% of respondents feeling strongly that pharmaceutical profits were just out of control and way too high. So what does the drug pricing landscape actually look like? Well, keep in mind that drug companies can price their drugs however they like. They can change prices anytime, and after launching a new product with patents, they are protected from competition for quite a while. Between January of 22 and January of 23, prices increased for nearly 4,300 prescription drugs. Some increases were by over 3,000%, and nearly half of those increases were greater than the increase of the Consumer Price Index, which is a measure of the average change in price over time that consumers pay for goods and services. Basically, this means that drugs are increasing way faster than that of inflation. When averaged out, price increases this year were about 15%, or nearly $600 per drug. For comparison's sake, prices went up around 11% the prior year. A review of 2022 data revealed that prices in the United States were approximately 2/3 higher than that of 33 comparison countries, with a major factor in the difference of pricings being that of generic versus brand name drugs. Brand name drugs in the United States cost over 400% of the price charged by comparison countries, whereas generic drugs in the United States cost only on average about 67% of the prices charged by comparison countries. And at first glance, you might be thinking, okay, well, at least we have cheaper generics, right? And that is something, right? But it is also more complex than that. You see, drug shortages, which lead to higher drug prices, are often results of the fact that somewhere around half the generics result in a profit loss for the United States companies. What this means is a lot of companies do not want to take on production of those generic drugs, and the ones that do sometimes face bankruptcy or forced reorganization, even closure. Thus, the drug supply dips and prices go up. So what do? Approximately 70% of respondents to a 2023 Kaiser Family Foundation poll did not feel that pharmaceutical pricing was regulated enough. While we might first think that increased regulation would focus on lowering the immediate cost, it's a little more complicated than that. For example, to address high prices resulting from drug shortages, government subsidies of generic drug production in the United States could be necessary. This would help to create a more stable supply, resulting in more stable pricing. In terms of addressing high drug costs like those brand name originator drugs, there has been some recent movement in the legislative world. In 2022, the Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law and contains several measures to lower prescription drug costs for individuals on Medicare. Listen to that closely, on Medicare. And that is the key. These changes currently only help those on Medicare. The law allows for governments to negotiate some drug prices. It limits the out-of-pocket spending of prescription drug caps. For example, the cost of insulin is capped at $35 a month. This requires drug companies to pay a rebate if they increase the drug prices faster than the rate of inflation. Again, these currently only apply to individuals on Medicare. If you have any other type of insurance, you're what we call out of luck. And again, there are issues here too. Some drugs cost a lot more to develop than others. Some thus require higher prices for companies to recoup their investment. This is definitely true for the so-called orphan drugs. Those are the drugs that are used to treat very rare diseases, and they have a very low profit potential due to the smaller population of people in need of them. There is an argument to be made that regulating drug prices down without careful consideration of individual factors like these would at some point reduce innovation and the willingness of companies to invest in research and development. However, given that pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer report a net income of over $30 billion, that's with a B, per year, I have a hard time being sympathetic toward them. And in reality, they often gain a large portion of their profits by using secondary patents to prolong their monopolies over certain drugs. In the end, there is an argument to be made for a little more regulation when it comes to the benefit of consumers. Drug pricing and regulation, however, is a very, very, very complicated topic, and it comes with a lot of money influencing the political decisions that are being made. It seems clear that the U.S. does have work to do to catch up with the consumer pricing of other countries, but striking the right balance for the right reasons has continued to be an uphill battle. If you benefited from this video today, a thumbs up would be appreciated. Also consider subscribing for more content, and until next time, stay stronger, my friends.